What if the Shogun lived? So before we get into this video, please guys don't forget to subscribe and turn off the notification bells. So let's get started. Shige, the Shogun. Still hits me to this day. But back in Shogun Assassination, one of the greatest arcs in fiction. I think it's my number one. I'm not sure if it's that or Silver Soul, but I digress. We lost one of the best characters I have seen in terms of best miners / side characters in Shige. He passed away at the end of the arc. Sorachi done that masterfully. Just from his introduction in the series as Shige being treated as a comedic relief, and then slowly we see how important he is, him being the Shogun, of course, right? And of course seeing how great of a Shogun and leader he was in course of a nation. So once came Shogun Assassination, of course we knew, man, big things were in store for him. And just at the end of the arc, when he passed away on her sister's lap, still hits. So most of us can agree that Shige's death was done masterfully, right? And of course he was a fan favorite, so it was sad to see him go, but no one has regrets of him dying. But I question, how would the future events in Gintama, how would that have changed if Shige never died and if he stayed alive at the end of Shogun Assassination arc? And it's important to consider because his death created the ripple events that, hey, it was felt in many arcs throughout the whole series, and I think certain arcs wouldn't have existed and certain events wouldn't have happened if he actually survived. So today I just want to just dive into that, some possible scenarios to evaluate how much the series would have changed. So it's interesting to consider. So first and foremost, farewell Shinsengumi. I think Farewell Shinsengumi is an arc that, of course, is a direct result. It's pretty much the aftermath. It felt like pretty much if the Shogun stayed alive, that arc wouldn't have happened. The Shinsengumi got disbanded because Nobunobu, of course, he took over Shogun. He disbanded the Shinsengumi, and he ordered Kondo and Matsudera to be executed for not saving the previous Shogun. So then and there, if Shige stayed alive, that wouldn't have happened at all. The Shinsengumi state would have still been present, and I think it would have been business as usual, because again, the previous series Gintama arcs, such as Yoshiwara, I'm just speaking about the big arcs here, Yoshiwara in Flames, Course of a Nation, Thorny, Banuzakura, even though they're big arcs, after that, the status quo still remained, and we went back to the everyday goofy lives of the Yorozuya and everybody else in Edo. But Farewell Shinsengumi was different because a big character in terms of his status in the series has passed away. So I think Isaburo, for sure, I think he would have stayed alive. I was thinking guys like Isaburo may have not died just due to the situation and how much the change of events would have changed the outcome of the deaths. But for now, I'm going to say in Farewell Shinsengumi, I think Isaburo still would have survived. Because with Shige still there, I still think that Utsuro and Oboro are still going to come, right? But they're not going to come amidst the chaos when the Shinsengumi, the Miramugumi were fighting, and the Naraku were fighting. So I still think they'll come, and the arc will not be called Farewell Shinsengumi, it will be called something else. But I still think Oboro and Utsuro would have still came. But in terms of deaths in that arc, or again the arc that was formerly known as Farewell Shinsengumi, I feel it's going to be a whole different arc if Shige left after Shogun Assassination, but still pursuing the offense of Shogun Assassination. So after the arc, they still come. Again, Utsuro and Oboro, they bring the Naraku, and again, Shige recruits the Yorozuya, Shinsengumi, everyone else in Edo, the big players, to fight. But who loses their life? I don't think Isaburo loses his life. Maybe onto the final arc, I can see that happening, maybe. But again, that was instrumental for Nobumi's development. So for now, I changed my mind. I'll say Isaburo still passes away after Shogun's assassination, right? But again, after that, so let's say the little skirmish again. The events when Gin met Utsuro and stuff, and like your sword can't reach me stuff, that stuff still happens. But everything else before that, doesn't happen. So example, Kondo getting arrested, Katsuo in prison with him, Matsuda in prison. The whole development with Tai and Kondo, that doesn't happen, you know? And again, you guys are probably saying, oh, hey, this is not that good. You know, it's better that if Shige died. But again, this is just a scenario video, you know? So don't take it too seriously. So again, that stuff happened. So then moving on to Rakio. So Rakio, again, Gin, Katsuo, Yoruzure, everyone else, they're hiding because of the new regime, right? Because Nobunobu has been in power, you know? Then they go on, but then they go off into space to help out Takasugi and Komui, right? And Nobunobu comes with them. So, again, I think that arc, that arc for sure happens, but not the same player. So I think, I'm thinking, with Nobunobu being still trying to fight for power, he doesn't come, but Shige doesn't come. So they still go to space. Again, that stuff still happens in Rakio. Again, stuff happened in Rakio because the Yorizuya had to escape there, right? And also included they had to go help out Komoi and Takasugi, you know? So again, maybe they don't go off to space, but again, something similar in that capacity happens. But again, they still have to go to space because we still have to know about the whole Altana stuff, right? So I guess that still happens. It's not like Ferocious Gumi, in which it was the direct result of Shogun assassination, right? So that arc still happens in that capacity. You know, so then moving on to Silver Soul. So again, the events with the Yorizuya come back to space is fine. A lot of stuff that still happens is there. Again, I see Usaburo. Yeah, I said Usaburo will still die. So again, all that development Nobumiga will still be present. And okay, let's talk about that Takasugi, Banzai, and everyone else, the Kaitai. I still feel Banzai still passes away. He still passes away. That happens. Again, Shige's death doesn't contradict any of the development or the events that happened to the Kaitai. So he still passes away again, which is still kind of sad because again, Banzai was a fantastic character. Nobunobu's death. So I see something along the lines of Nobunobu getting the development with Shige after he tried killing him, and how Shige tried to forgive Nobunobu. I see something along the lines of that. I see Shige showing Nobunobu what it means to be a true shogun. So again, all the events in Silver Soul, we see how Shige is acting like a true shogun, how everyone's looking at him as a source of inspiration and leadership. And then Nobunobu opens his eyes, right? Then I see something along the lines of Nobunobu sacrificing himself. So when Enoshi tries to kill Shige, he sacrificed himself. So again, Nobunobu still does have that development, but in a different degree in a way, you know? So that's how I think how it will kind of happen. So again, what happens after, the post Silver Soul, the time skip arc, a lot of stuff does remain the same, from what I know. I think it still remains the same. But other than that, I think I got all the bases covered, or at least the main details covered, So Shige overall, and his death, again, was a huge difference maker in the series, How many series arcs did we have in the series in which a lot of stuff did happen and we went back to the status quo, right? Of course, those arcs had implications, but at the end of the day, Gintama went back to being Gintama. But no, with the Shogun assassination, this was the first time in which after a series arc, we saw the repercussions. We saw Gintoki walking hobbled from his fight with Takasugi. The atmosphere, we knew that this has changed the series. It has changed the series, game changer, no going back. So by making Shige live, it does change the course of events quite a lot, particularly mainly Ferocious Sugumi and a bit of Rakio. Silver Soul, at the end of the day, I still feel remains the same. I could have seen, so when Shige, if he had lived, some more comedy chapters and such, and like more one shots. But again, the Tendoshu still comes at Silver Soul. Usuro and Oboro still come again, but it has to be before Rakio. And some of the reasons why they go to Rakio may change a bit. Why Yorizuya going to space, but Ferocious Sugumi as an arc is abolished. Because again, the main crutch of Ferocious Sugumi was events that happened in Shogun assassination, mainly being the Shogun's death. the Shogun's death, right? So it makes sense in that regard. So I have to gotta say, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching. Comment down below. To tell me what you guys think if I missed anything, and like how would the series would have changed if Shige stayed alive and if he hadn't died. I think I covered most bases. I covered the most important parts, I think, in my opinion. But it would have been interesting if he actually did survive, and how much it would have changed the course of the series. I still stand by that. Silver Soul would have been the same for the most part, but again, Ferocious and Gumi would have been completely different, or it wouldn't even been called Ferocious and Gumi. It would have been called something else. So it's interesting to see, because Shige's death really changed the course of the series. It was no going back from there. Just because of his position being the Shogun. And again, this is why a lot of fans, including myself, love Shogun Assassination, because how much it changed the series. And it was fantastic, man. And Shige is the elite character, man. And not gonna lie, I still miss him, but his death was necessary to progress the series, bad. And again, man, Sorachi is a masterclass, man. So even all the deaths that followed after Shige, such as Kawakami's death, and Isaburo's death, still sad to see, but again, it made sense in the grand scheme of things, So again, thank you guys, I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one.